Hey y'all, in this video, I'm going to break down the science of hair loss. We'll look through research papers. I'm going to break it down for you in simple English. I think science and health should be simplified. I got very confused, but of course, I've spent so many years reading this stuff now. It makes sense to me, so hopefully, I'll explain it to you guys so you can understand why your hair loss is happening. Once you understand why it's happening, once you're aware of the problem, finding the solution and fixing the problem is much, much easier. I'll also walk you through at the end of the video how to actually fix the problem based on all the research and the data we're seeing and the results I've seen for myself as well as all the people I've worked with. Right, so let's get into it. Let me start by sharing my screen so that I can walk you through the research. Before we do that, let's start off by talking a little bit about who I am and why you should even bother watching the rest of this video. I'm Adi. I call myself the hair expert. I started because I was losing hair myself. I was losing about 150 hair strands every day. I went to a dermatologist, and of course, they always say the same thing, take minoxidil, take finasteride. But that's something I was not willing to put in my body because I'd heard of the side effects. I understood that it messes with the hormone that the body produces. The body is not stupid, it does so for a specific reason. I was not ready to put pills in my body for the rest of my life. Right? That's when I went down this rabbit hole, started looking at the research, the data, which I'll be sharing everything on this in this video today. And it kind of changed my life, and I hope this information can change your life as well. Right? So of course, you can see my results up top here. I was able to stop my hair loss, fix my scalp, the dandruff, the oiliness, and you can see my hair now. It's something I'm not too worried about. Right? So I built a solution. Then I worked with 120 others for about 2.5 years to make sure this stuff works, and it consistently proved that it worked. These guys, they don't take any drugs, they don't take any finasteride. They're able to see these results with natural methods using the research we'll kind of see in the rest of this video, right? So this is Arish, he's a friend from college, incredible results. I met him the other day, couldn't even tell he was thinning. Colin really thickened up his crown. And I've seen results like these again and again. And it's just once you understand the science, which I'll walk you through in this video, you'll understand why it works. Let's start with it simple. I like to simplify things because I think science and health is overcomplicated. Put simply, again, there are many factors involved. We will walk through everything in this video, but everything seems to be consistent. It starts with a tight scalp. The problem is that your scalp is tight. It's not in a good condition for hair to grow. This is something that for some reason no one's ever told us. Everyone's trying to sell us a product or a pill or minoxidil or finasteride. But the issue is right here. Your scalp skin, it's so tight. This happens because of stress reasons, genetic factors. Happy to make another video on that, on why your scalp gets tight. But it gets tight and that restricts blood flow. It causes inflammation and it increases DHT as well, which we'll talk about very shortly. Right, so that happens. The problem is most solutions in the market don't even fix your tight scalp. It's all about applying a product or a pill or a serum. And just think about it logically, unless you release the tight scalp, your hair is not going to grow. Right? So that's a basic, understand this one fundamental. If there's only one thing you take away from this video, it should be that I have to fix my tight scalp. The moment I do that, I'll start seeing results because I've seen that happen again and again. Let's look at the science now. This is where it starts to get interesting and I start getting excited. Like I said, it all begins with scalp tension, but it's not so simple, right? What we've actually seen is there a four-part chain. Starts with scalp tension, goes to inflammation. High levels of inflammation cause a DHT response. DHT response causes fibrosis, which chokes off the blood supply to the hair follicles. The hair doesn't get enough blood, it ends up falling out, right? And again, the research here is very strong. I wouldn't say it's actually very strong, but the research here is enough to show that there's definitely a chain in place. And when you start seeing people's results, it's very, very similar to kind of the data and research we're seeing right now. Right, so let's actually go through some of the papers and I'll walk you guys through it so you can understand for yourself what might be going on. Give me 1 second. I'm using the software. Let's start with mechanical stress, right? That's the first part in our chain. This research paper, when I first saw this one image, which is I primarily want to talk about, I was like, this is gonna change the world forever. On the right here, you can see high levels of tension. So basically, light blue areas are areas of highest tension. Darker blue areas are areas of lower tension. Do you notice something? Most people, especially men, bald in the crown and hairline first. That's not a coincidence. Those areas have highest tension. Because they have highest tension, it starts a chain of inflammation, DHT, lack of blood flow, and hair fall. If you can deal with the tension, we can reverse our hair loss. This graphic is incredible because it shows us a direct link between balding patterns as well as areas of highest tension. Now let's go to the second part of this chain, right? If you guys remember again, it was scalp tension, inflammation, DHT production, and then lack of blood flow and hair loss, right? I want to walk you through each chain. The first research I showed you was about the mechanical stress causing scalp tension. Now let's see how tension causes inflammation, right? So this article walks through how they were able to find that specific mechanical tension caused the production of an inflammatory response, also known as chronic inflammation, so long-term inflammation. And as you can see here, it was kind of figured out that this was most likely tension mediated, right? So tension may, again, it's not completely conclusive based on the research and data so far. But in my personal practice, I'm kind of seeing this again and again. Tension leads to inflammation. And that's what we're kind of seeing here as well. Tension may be the starting point of chronic inflammatory cascade that results in baldness. Right? So now we have tension, it's led to inflammation. Now let's see where DHT comes into play. This research walks us through how DHT has anti-inflammatory properties. Again, this is very, very interesting. What we're basically seeing is as inflammation levels go up, the body, it's not stupid, the body sends DHT as a way to lower inflammation levels. Unfortunately, as a byproduct, that actually causes an increase in fibrosis. It causes your blood follicles to get choked, not enough blood reaching the hair follicles. The hair follicles thins out and then eventually falls out. This is why DHT blockers like finasteride, dutasteride, these things do work at slowing down hair loss. But the problem is the moment you stop taking, the hair fall comes back because you've not dealt with scalp tension, you've not dealt with inflammation, right? That's where the chain starts. Everyone's focused on dealing with DHT. And yes, I agree. It does matter, but it's definitely not the root cause. If you can deal with the scalp tension, the inflammation, also have some measures for DHT in place and increase blood flow, you'll see long-term results which will last, right? So again, to break down everything very simply, it's about dealing with the tension first. In my practice, anyone I work with, you have to deal with the tension. For most people, that in itself is often enough. For some others, you might also have to deal with inflammation and DHT separately. And if you want regrowth, you have to find the right mechanism to increase blood flow to the scalp. I hope this was very helpful for you guys. This information changed my life. I think everyone should be aware of it. I don't like to gatekeep education, so that's why I'm sharing my screen, walking you through it all, and hopefully making it less complicated than having to read these papers yourself, right? Some things to keep in mind. Yes, this research is fairly new. It's not the most funded research because no one's making money by telling you that scalp tension might be the cause of your hair loss. So it's not the most funded, but there is some data out there. And when I work with people one-on-one and we work on these mechanisms and I see those results, it makes me more and more confident. I think in a couple of years, and this is one of my personal goals, everyone will be treating hair loss at the root, not just taking bandage fixes for the rest of their lives. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to keep pushing out some, interesting content. So subscribe to this channel if you want to. Uh, and let's get your hair fall stopping and hopefully growing back as well.